please speak completely honestly, is what he's saying, for me to ask me to convey to you all. Yes.
Well, that was a very moving film, to say the least, for not able to find the right words that would do it any justice. But my question would be for those that have not completed that journey. What is it that is your struggle? What is your barrier? What is the obstacle that prevents you from completing the journey that his life was for you to complete? I mean, it's clear that his work was for the liberation of everyone he came into contact with. And so for those who was not able to, what is it?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That is an important question. My first response is that everything that he did during his lifetime was for all beings in all time, forever. So not just for me, who happened to be alive at the same time and in his immediate sphere, so the journey, in my personal journey, but I feel that in a sense it's not even really about me, because he talks so much about the presumption of identification, that this is Eileen on her journey to achieve something. And I feel when you're talking about the greatest obstacle is the presumption of, and it comes up all the time, despite all of his instruction and his grace, that the presumption of being a separate self. And he's given the means to understand that gesture, as he says, of the self-contraction, of separation, and to not only to be drawn to him through my devotion to him, my recognizing him as the divine being, to not struggle with what is it that I'm doing? You know, why aren't I there yet? Because that, as he said, reinforces the sense of Eileen on a search. So it's a great question because it's kind of a mystery as well. He doesn't give a technique, he doesn't give a method, he gives disciplines, and he gives devotional practices in which the forgetting of the separate self is magnified and his grace comes through. But if I were to actually say the obstruction in my case, it's probably the universal. It's presuming I am an ego, presuming I am a separate self, and believing that somehow I'm going to achieve enlightenment. I'm going to become realized. And as he says, it's when the self is so completely forgotten. He once said humorously that in that moment of enlightenment, like you're the last one to know because you've been so self-forgotten. And, but also I just wanted to express too that it's not just, you know, for this group of people or those of us present time with him. And was also, I felt expressed, and certainly my own feeling, is since his passing out of his physical body, the intimacy with him has magnified. The feeling him present, the feeling him in my life, my giving over more and more to him. At first, certainly there was the loss of his physical form, of his being. And I think we all, as a community and a culture, went through that grieving time. But he is beyond the body. He is reality and the truth of that, which is available to everybody. But again, back to your question, so what is it in all of us, that prevents that? So.
Yeah, if you think in the big picture, that sense of doing this bodily thing repeatedly, so that we do this life and then we rest and we come back and we do another life without knowing what this life was. And we have been doing that separation, that sense of separate being, feeling we are separate for who knows how long. And so that habit, that pattern of separation is, as Adida described it, held deep. And to therefore come to another understanding about this, the prior unity of everything, and that we all arise only in consciousness, then that in some senses, as you said in the film, it's just a different understanding or comprehension of everything. It's just a twisting of that view, and yet it changes everything. But we have to undo that lifelong and lives-long pattern of feeling we are separate, and that takes work.
I might just add that there's so many ways to answer that question. And one way to answer it is to say nothing at all. There's nothing at all that's obstructing realization in this moment. Nothing. It's right here, it's right now. It's perfectly given. Just acknowledge that. What Adida said in 1974 has always stayed with me. And this is a quote from him from one of his early books. He said, the devotee, a piece at a time, becomes aware of the perfection that the guru has already generated in his or her case. It's already happened. It's already happening. And Adida came into this world to do a particular kind of work, a grace work for all beings. Gurus come for that purpose. To give. And he didn't leave the body, and it took him a lot of work not to do that, as you can see from the film, until he was completely satisfied that that work had been accomplished. And so having accomplished that work, a spiritual opportunity of the most extraordinary kind is available to everyone, absolutely. And all that's required is that you recognize him by grace, him meaning the divine person, and also that you respond. That's it. And the rest of it is the illusion. So if you put your attention on what's the obstruction, you've misplaced your attention. You're already now in the self-contraction, and it looks like there's something you need to do. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you the illusory you can do about the situation that you presume yourself to be in. That process is his work to undo that. And there's nothing you can do about it except to be aware by grace of just turning one's attention, one's feeling, one's love in every moment to him and allowing him to reveal truth, reality, love itself, love, bliss, happiness, conscious light, as he will. That's the way I would answer your question.
Yeah,
And there's many, many other things that could be said about it because it's a beautiful question. But like all questions, he said, the question is really, questions themselves are in the form of a problem or some kind of, there's underneath that question is a presumption of difference, of separation. And that's what we all get stuck in. I mean, we're not alone. Everybody gets stuck in that, where you presume that you've got to do something about the problem that you see as life, as reality, as your own personality or your own limitations or everybody else's limitations, which you're completely familiar with, you know. And that's just not what it is. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is this, and this is why the film was named as it is. What's happening here is indivisible conscious light. That's what's happening. And the rest of this is just a kind of superficial hair on a peach. It means nothing, you know?
Okay. Forgive me, but I just would like to engage, if that's okay.
Sure.
You spoke about this habit that we've gotten into of coming back over and over and over again. And not to dispute, I cannot dispute that this is all something other than what I'm experiencing. And so you said that requires work. Could you expound on that?
Yeah, well, the work was something of what Anthony was speaking about. It's what happens I'll speak personally, as I study Adida's work and his revelation, there's a sort of constant awareness that he is revealing to me that pattern, and I begin to see the pattern more and more. And part of our process, as Anthony was saying, is to give our attention, be attracted. He is attraction, because he, you know, when you find this ultimate truth, it's like, okay, you know, but that doesn't mean that you're enlightened. It means that you're still a pattern, and you. Now, I was going to say, as part of Anthony's response there, you give your attention to him even in the moments where you're having a conflict with someone or something that is perceived as the problem and you're having to bear down on it. Even in that moment, you're giving your attention to him and allowing him to resolve the circumstance. But that act of giving attention is a real requirement, because you want to indulge your emotion in that moment and, you know, do what you have to do, fight it out, whatever it is, respond in whatever it is that you feel. But to transcend that and see that and understand that and go beyond that is practice. You know, it's practicing a new pattern, a different pattern.
Tapas.
Yeah,
You know the word.
lots of heat. Yeah.
Wonderful questions. Anybody else have a comment or question?
Yes. First, thank you very much for presenting this wonderful film. I appreciate the long-term effort it went to making the film. I know a little bit about the film myself, so I can truly appreciate the effort that it takes. What I want to say is that I want to affirm two things that Adida has said, what his whole life has been about. Number one, the notion of bright, right? In fact, from a biophysical basis, all of us, every being is born in light. That's our fundamental identity, is that. How do I know that? Because I went to a summer school in Germany in 2000 with about 20 or so people. And there was a person by the name of Fritz Albert Popp. You can find him online. And he's developed instruments that can actually measure the real light that our brains, our hearts, all our bodies emit. You know, from the palms of our hands, infrared light.
Yeah.
And that's been known for thousands of years. Many cultures have known that, but we kind of thought it was a metaphysical reality, not reality itself. In fact, when those 300 million sperm coalesce around that egg, and the one that penetrates, a burst of light is given off. That's measured. Northwestern scientists have actually filmed that. The second thing is, since we're all light, right, the problem is we're not conscious light. And that's the most profound, fundamental thing that he said, is that, yes, we're that, but we're not conscious of that. And that's the goal of anyone's spiritual practice, no matter what flavor it happens to be, is to become that, and to know that, and to live that, and transmit and share that with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Anyone else? No. Yes.
Oh, she's back.
Who? Again.
Well,
You again? Oh,
Okay.
I was just going to make a comment, and I was going to say that I really appreciate the work that was done in bringing the film forward. It is what you call palpable. I could feel it. And then I noticed what Adida was saying. You know, this is the universal truth of many mystics, of what he was saying about our so-called human condition. And I really appreciated his story about narcissists and how this is like a human experience and how we miss the mark, and how he explained how we miss the mark. And then I like the music that was in it, and I like the whole presentation of the work of how it was done. You could really feel it. It's very bright, vibrant, and you went through different phases, you know, the interactions with the initiates and just the way of life. It showed the evolvement of his work, you know, where nobody was getting him at first, so he came to everybody's level. But at some point in time, he had to get to the real work that he had come here for. And the radical change that happened, and how the people responded to that. So I just thought it was good work, you know, excellent cinematography, and I like the score of it, you know, especially when you got to the part where you were showing his art and the music that was underneath that. I thought that was outstanding, you know, because it added so much to the overall presentation. So I enjoyed it, and thank you all for allowing us to come and partake of this work that you did for your beloved Guru, and to share with us, because there's so many lessons in it as well. Just showing the evolution, so many lessons in there as well that I noticed. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for having us.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Not that easy. I'm engaging because, as you know, I've been initiated by Bhagwan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in watching that film, it stirred up things in me.
Mm-hmm.
And making the best use of this opportunity that I have while he's yet in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Because in watching that film and seeing the sacrifice
Yeah.
that was made, I mean, it was just, beyond words again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my experience with Bhagwan over these years of all the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing what it feels like to have to endure the absence of him in his body. My questions is geared to help me better appreciate this opportunity. So that's my intention here, that's my motive here, is to engage so that that time, of course, grace permits and I'm here, hopefully not before, that I have taken advantage of this opportunity. So my motives for these questions is that, it's like the Bhagwan talks about effort and grace. And even though it wasn't worded in the film, there was this effort and grace going on there too as well, in those disciplines. And so does that continue even though Adida is no longer in the body?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I say something? I appreciate very much what you're saying about making the most of this opportunity while Bhagwan is in the body. And one of the things for sure, that a lot of us felt was, who lived around him, that we failed. We failed test after test. And one can start to feel really bad, and especially, like you say, you see this sacrifice so much more objectively. And I know Ruchira Dhammakarna Sukapur has spoken to a lot of us who were around during the time and said, it's not about that. Just, it's this moment, and this moment, and this moment. And Adida used all of that to create his written teaching. And so it seemed like, he even said it, him coming down into our level, in a sense, was a lila that wasn't how he would be most effective. But his work that he was able to take from that time, and from all of us being so resistive, he was able to really create and write his teaching. So it wasn't like a total loss. And, for me to look back and just like, or things I said or what I did, I can feel really bad. But it's not about that. That was done, and I think for all of us, So whatever is happening in the moment now, whatever happened in the past, it's always about present time and the next moment and the next moment. And but taking that very seriously. And
Yeah, as seriously as you possibly can in the moment. And that moment will vary constantly. But, Haridas said that the life of the Guru is the equivalent to the gestation of a baby in a mother's womb. And the passing of the Guru is the beginning of the life of that being. And so the exponential possibility of the teaching and the revelation, once it has occurred, is now a sort of a growing thing and an emerging thing. And it took again personally, it took a while to appreciate that Adida's presence is still palpable, tangible, absolutely felt. And, you know, again, our concept of being separate and him having gone and therefore not being present is absolutely wrong. It's not the fact at all. In fact, you know, he can be felt in every moment. And it's just a question of, again, turning, giving the attention. And so that while Bhagwan is still alive, you give as much of your attention as you possibly can. And then the rest will be grace.
And your love.
Yeah.
Love,
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
So Bhagwan Raj is going to come and speak shortly, very shortly. I just wanted to give anybody else an opportunity to give you a response.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the key word, I think, and that's love.
Mm-hmm.
The development within of the love that we have. We were loved first by the Master, and by being receptive to that love, we begin to see that that's all there is, that is the key element of moving forward with our internal spiritual growth, really being conscious of that love as much as we can, moment to moment, no matter what we're doing. Because we have to put effort into any disciplines we've been given, but that love, I think, is the underlying force of what will help us to grow spiritually.
Beautiful, yeah. Well, let's, maybe everybody can take a little stretch break and kind of move around for a moment, and I'll let Bhagwan Ra know that we're ready for it. Okay? Thank you.
Are we going to leave?
Atsato matsakamaya Tamase ma juktirgamaya Rito ma amritam gamaya Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right. I can't see anybody's face out there.
We better turn some more lights.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Well, I certainly want to thank the Sangha for inviting us to be here with you today. It's always good to come home again and again. So please convey our gratitude and appreciation for your invitation to those who might not have been in the house tonight. Okay. I'm hoping you all enjoyed the video satsang, and that you all learned your lessons. And I want to particularly acknowledge the fact that sitting here, you know, anywhere in this building, we've been here many times before, but one of the common experience that we have, and I'm sure other people as well, when we come into this place, you could feel the descent of peace. I was sitting in the bookstore. Unbeknown to me, I was like that deer looking for the source. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't in me. It was in the basement downstairs. This is where you all do puja.
That's right,
Yeah,
right.
I could feel your puja coming through the floor. You see? And I think all of the devotees of Bhagwan Adi Samraji have been contaminated with that same flavor. No doubt due to your commitment to the practice of the presence of your Guru.
And by His grace.
Yes. So, with that said, I have no agenda. What would you rascals like to discuss? You're most welcome to suggest anything you want to consider. Or you can leave it to me and regret it for perhaps the rest of your life. Certainly, we were having a bit of a satsang before everything started.
That's right.
And maybe we'll continue that line of inquiry. We're talking about the fact that the path and the relationship with the Guru comes down to motive. I love that invocation. You see, asato va sagamaya, where your motive is to be led from the unreal to the real. It's motive. Pure motives. There are different kinds of motives that bring all of us to the path, you see? But it is only if we are bringing the purest motive that we can expect some result, some success, you see? And so in that invocation, as well as many others, they really consist of an example of our motive, you see? Coming to the path to be led from the unreal to the real. And that has to be the priority. Tammaso ma jotir gamaya, to be led from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light, you see. Not coming to show your knowledge. Many people come to the path to show their so-called knowledge, you see. They enter into debate, you see, so forth and so on. That's not a pure motive. It's an ego-based motive. Are you with me? But the pure motive is to come with that humility, understanding you don't know. If you knew, you wouldn't be in your situation. You come to be led from ignorance to knowledge. See? And that becomes the primary function of a guru, you see, or teacher of any status, does not matter. To some degree, it's all about the same thing, you see. The Buddha says the problem is you're ignorant of your true nature, your true self. Mirokto ma amaritam kamaya. You want to have that motive of ending this cycle of birth and death. Chorasi, awagawan, in this wheel. Lifetime after lifetime. You see, born, die, born, die, born, die. Maybe I should hyphenate it and put suffering in the middle. Born, suffering, die, born, suffering, die, born, suffering, die. You see, this is the cycle of awagawan, chorasi, over and over again. You see? And the motive is to bring that to an end. You see? So these are the basic motives that make the whole process work. You see? There are some things that are also part of the process. There are things you have to be taught, and then there are things that you have to catch. You see? Some things have to be caught, some things have to be taught to you. So it's a twofold process, you see. And we can go into some discussion. The evening is long. I don't want to push my luck, but certainly we can have some conversation if you like. But that's a basic message. And I think perhaps the video conveyed that to you all. The movie conveyed that to you all. There's something you got to get taught. Now, a lot of time we come to the Guru, you see, and you get caught up in this starry-eyed syndrome, this rock star stuff. Are you with me? It's not useful. It ultimately stands you in a cultist disposition to the Guru. Are you with me? You see? You come to be congratulated. You see, those kind of motives. That doesn't work. You see. There is, however, a natural, how do I put it, synchronization in the spiritual tradition that is called Satsang. It doesn't require any language. There is no back and forth. Are you with me? It's a feeling relationship. And that, of course, depends on, again, quality of mind. If the mind is full of thoughts, thinking all over the place, you can't get in this sync. So it's not simply a matter of just sitting, being quiet. It's more like getting into a state of dhamuni. The mind has to quiet down, and then you can feel. You see? You get in that place. And that's good. But on the other hand, with that same quiet mind, you got to listen. You got to hear. Ptahhotep, an African Egyptian mystic living thousands of years ago, predating Buddha, Mahavira, Dadu, Kabir, all of the big names, lost in history, said it very beautiful. Ptahhotep said, the Lord loves the one that hears, that listens. It does no good to have to come to the Guru if you're not listening to what you're being taught. Follow my argument? That's a waste of time, energy, and attention. Well, I shouldn't give you credit for attention. Certainly a waste of time and energy. So these are the universal criteria that makes the Guru-disciple relationship kinetic, irregardless of times, place, and personalities and individuals. You see, it's a universal principle that governs that sacred relationship. We can go on and on and on and on and on, but some of this is redundant. I'm simply reminding you of the foundation. So we all have come here, and presumably in search of truth. That definitely has to be a fundamental bottom line motive for being on the path. I believe that Adida Samraj emphasized that particular motive, perhaps more than any other, but definitely that one. Truth, you see? So when that no longer becomes your primary motive, then that's as far as you're going to get towards your goal of liberation and enlightenment and the ending of suffering. The old cliche is true. Truth sets you free. If you can't find the truth, if you're no longer interested in the truth, then you have forfeited any freedom that you are seeking. It's not going to happen. And so forth and so on. Am I frightening you here? No.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yes, beloved.
Well, we just we're in the midst of celebrating our celebration around Dhanavara Mela, which is our celebration of the hero of giving. during this season,
Mhm.
and the celebration of the light in everybody.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, in your tradition, do you have any observances at this time of year, and how you all celebrate that?
Well, normally in this time of the year, we do have a traditional celebration. We simply call it Nam Day. That's when we celebrate having been given the gift of initiation, you see? And we come together and we buy gifts and exchange it with one another within the Sangha, so forth and so on. So that's every year around about this time, you see? To give thanks for the greatest gift that any human being can receive. You see, all other gifts are peripheral. And then we have, and I think you've been there for Savor Day.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier about the fact that one of the things that is included in what the Guru teaches us is savor. Now, we read a lot about how the ego is the problem, how the ego must be transcended, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not realizing that savor is probably the most effective and certainly the quickest way to transcend ego. Maybe the word transcend ego is not absolutely correct because it gives the impression that there's no more ego left. Right? But there's always going to be this fundamental sense of I. What savor does, it decontracts the sense of I, expands it to include the whole universe. The experience of being separate and not in union, not one, is overcome. Those of you who have read the Astravaka Gita, so in that second chapter when Janaka, right, it's have received the teaching from Astravaka, and then you begin to hear one of the things that happened to King Janaka. He began to exclaim, glory be unto me, and so forth. The language is beautiful, you see. Nobody is greater than me. Everybody is me, you see. That's an expansion, you see. And the tradition of Guru Nanak and the Guru Granth Sahib, it talks about that state. They call it home min, which means it's an expansion. If you're in a contracted state, the only antidote for that is not reading more books about the perils of being in a contracted state. That doesn't decontract you. Savor. So Savor Day is about that. And you guys come and we really appreciate that, you see. But every day should be Savor Day if you're serious about overcoming the limitation that is inherent in a contracted condition where you are only able to function within the limitation of your likes and your dislikes, your ragas and your devesas, you see. Or if you're lost and trying to think yourself to that state. Now you are bogged down in the quagmire. You have ideals about reality. You have beliefs about reality. Your ideals and your belief about reality has no relationship to reality. But you mistake them. You think that what you believe is real is in fact real. And then 99.9% of the time, it's not real. Why? Because it's not within your experience. That which you understand or think you understand, that you claim you understand, that is not grounded in your personal experience, that's your imagination and no more. This is, again, one of the advantages that we have in having been given the gift of the company of the Guru and their teachings, you see. It protects us from our own imagination. Protects you from self-deluding yourself, bullshitting yourself, presuming, arrogating to yourself qualities and virtues that in reality you do not possess, you see. This is the unique advantage we have. And so Nam Day is about really expressing, getting back in touch with our gratitude for that good fortune, you see. reminding us that, again, that we're grateful for the help that's been given to us. You see, can't forget you come here to these paths, to the Guru, because you understand you need help. And when you forget your condition, then that's when it's all downhill. Maharaji used to say that the path has been embarked upon by trillions of people. You all are not the first people, I guess you know that, right? That has embarked upon the spiritual path, right? Maharaji used to say that this is a razor's edge. And there are millions of bones of people who have tried to travel this path and fail. Trillions of them. You see? Most will fail. You see? That's just how it is. So you must really adhere to the guidance of the Guru. You see? And not follow your beliefs, your ideal, what you think. Because that will lead you surely to a fall. And for that, there is humility. Yes, beloved?
I was just thinking of an old saying that he who has himself as a master has a fool for a disciple.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. You see, in tradition we talk, there's Gurumukh and then there's Mamukh. The Mamukh is the person that follows what they think. The Gurumukh, as it says in Guru Gita, Guru said, disciple do. That's it. You see? There is no I thing. You see? There is no editing of the instructions. You see? That's a Mamukha. You're following the very ignorant mind that keeps you being born, suffering, die. Born, suffering, die. Born, suffering, die. See? And so these are just some of the rules and regulations of the Guru-disciple relationship. These are more than rules and regulations, they are laws that governs the relationships, you see. But yes, beloved, you're absolutely right. One who has a mind for his teacher has a fool for a disciple, you see. And yet, on the other hand, you see, it's not just about having a guru, having the right guru for you. You see, it's personal. You think my point is personal? There has to be that heartfelt connection, you see. One of the old cliches that said, it's better having no teacher than to have the wrong teacher. Better to have no teacher than the wrong teacher. You see. The wrong teacher is the one that is not going to really guru you. They're going to flatter you, pump you up. You see, charge you a lot of money. You see, promise you miracles, right? I'm gonna raise your kundalini, just come to this retreat, give me $3,000, you see? Wrong teacher. If you haven't been furious and angry, and in fact, perhaps even feel like killing your guru, you got the wrong guru. You see, right? Kabir Sahib says they're coming to the guru. They said, this is no party at John T's house. You follow me? Nobody's going to be giving you all these gifts and singing happy birthday and shit like that. You see, they're not here to make your life swell. True? True. They are trauma, you see. They create a crisis. And Taoism and Chinese philosophy, the ideogram for crisis is an interesting one because it can mean break down or break through. There's good stress. So the guru becomes a source of the good stress, Well, maybe just plain stress, and then it's up to you to decide whether you would turn it into breakthrough or breakdown, you see. So you see that with Milarepa, you see, coming to his school of mouth. But I feel this thing over and over and over and over again, you see. And that's what the Guru provides us with. Mhm. That confrontation. Yes, beloved.
Well, they're in the process of making the film. That was a very interesting dynamic that I had to learn personally, that the necessary configuration of arrangement that Adidas set up, such that the senior renunciate order are always in charge and always the final authority on everything. And coming to terms with that in reality while trying to produce a film that speaks to everybody. And you know, my understanding of what that would mean in terms of speaking to everybody, and the renunciate orders consideration of what is necessary to say to everybody, and that interesting dynamic between the two was on many occasions torture for me.
Yes, of course.
And a real struggle that I had to really come to terms with and surrender to and sort of be open to, even though I couldn't see it at the time.
Yes, yeah.
But then the final piece of the film, having gone through that process, I can see Adida's wisdom as absolutely right. That dynamic has to be there, and that necessary authority that is different from what I think in my ordinary sense has to be there for that combination. You know, I'm the servant, I bring my skill, and but Adida informs it through that process and that dynamic, and I came so much to appreciate that.
Of course.
Sometimes at the time, but mostly after the fact.
But you see, beloved, what you said is also true, even more true for your life. See, that's a film.
Yeah, yeah.
Your life is not a film. And so if you can make that film, that's good. You're getting closer. You see, now that same surrender that has to be brought to your life of sadhana, which means not editing the sadhana, picking and choosing what you like, but you see, and that's basically what it comes down to, your likes, your dislikes, you see, and that's what you're attached to, you see, and so this detachment has to happen, you see, by any means necessary, preferably by grace, you see, but if the universe have to do it, that grace takes the form of what we call grahata. And that doesn't feel good. But the point is that after you survive the process, then now you can appreciate. You see, now you fall into faith and surrender, because now you've experienced. You see, and you're a lot more open-minded in the relationship with the Guru. You see, because open-mindedness, according to me, simply means your willingness to acknowledge that you could be absolutely wrong. No matter how much of an expert you think you are. You see?
Yeah, it's a trust.
Yeah, a trust. A sarada, you see, begins to form in you. But it's with our life. So the Guru outlines sadhana, you see? It gives you some kind of a technique in the beginning to work with. You see, to begin to purify the mind. All of the technology that makes up sadhana has one fundamental purpose. It's the purification of the mind. There's nothing wrong with the Atma. You see, pure consciousness itself, Atma, Brahman, whatever you want to call it, that's not the problem. That's not even the function of sadhana. It's to purify your mind, you see. You're already conscious. But the impure mind obscures, you see, the shining forth of that reality into your life and living, you see. So, you have to really, that's a good metaphor for you, beloved. That's a great gift. And now if you can make that the model and the basis of how you create your life, you're in business. And we'll be making a film about you. But all of those are things that we all go through. So one of the tasks of every devotee, every disciple, is to sit there, like Maharaji used to say, sit your life in the palm of your hand, inventory and identify what aspects of the sadhana are you most reluctant, you see, to follow, right? And that's where your work is at. Because you're attached to that, you see. You're in Arjuna's dilemma, the same dilemma that Arjuna was in on Kurukshetra, right? You're attached. You see, sometimes not to people, sometimes you're more attached to your belief and your patterns of thinking and your so-called knowledge, so forth and so on, you see. Attached to various strategies, you see. Because all of us came, you know, we had our own enlightenment project. We had to figure out how we would do it, right? And definitely here in the West, we say, I'm going to collect me a lot of information, I'm going to read all the literature, I'm going to study all the traditions, and once that information reaches a certain level, voila, it will collapse into enlightenment. And that's not how it goes. You see, if mere information could have transformed somebody, all of us would be transformed by now. Scholars would be transformed by now. That doesn't do it, you see, at all. You see, you try to think your way out of your dilemma, out of your suffering. You can't think your way out of suffering at all. You see, you try to think yourself into a state of self and God realization. Think yourself into a hum brahmanji. You see, another hawk. You see, blah blah blah. Can't think yourself there. You see. You can't, a finite thinking cannot comprehend that which is infinite. Are you with me? Thinking is limited. It's a function, right? It's limited too, just like you only can see so far. You can only hear at a certain level, decibel, so forth and so on, right? Everything about you is limited. All of it. There's a limit to what you could think. Are you with me?
Yes.
In the West, there was Ludwig Wittgenstein. Very interesting. He said it in a different way, where of that you cannot speak, you must be silent. In the same sense, when you reach that level and you realize you can't think about Brahman, you cannot truly comprehend the infinite. And when you hit that limit and you realize that, now you relax. See? So that's the whole trick. You know what I mean? The Buddha come and say, read all of this stuff. Go read the Bhagavad Gita, go study this, go study exhausted. You see? So that you have the experience of the limitation of the reach of your intellect. You see?
That strikes me to have something to do with seeking.
Yes, that is the seeking. You see? You're seeking to figure this shit out before you make a commitment. It's like dating and you trying to score first, then you'll get there. You understand? You see? It doesn't work in anything that is authentically spiritual. You're seeking, you know, intellectually, mentally, you see? Through thinking. You're seeking a way to pull it off without the guru. You follow me? Because some people, you know, they hit that wall They got the right guru, they just didn't know it. He makes them sick, you know what I mean? He makes them build walls over and over again. There's no flattery. He's rough. You understand?
Yes.
Not polished and so forth, a kind of Kabir. You see my point? You see? A kind of Buddha Dhamma. You see? Right? In fact, Buddha Dhamma was so rough, they were scared to go to Buddha Dhamma. I mean, you know, they're looking for those nice Himalayan gurus. You know, Buddha Dhamma was rough, you know what I mean? In fact, he sat with his back to people. They come in, you know, you see, I beloved, I'm here, I'm seeking enlightenment. And Buddha Dhamma wouldn't even turn around. Ignored them, right? And years went on like that. Seekers would come and make the trek up the mountains, you know, to his little cave, risking life in them and wild animals. And Buddha Dhamma didn't even respond. You see? There was one guy, and you all know the story, I'm just reminding you, trying to make a point here. One guy came, made the same trek, and people were trying to tell him, he said, you know, you're wasting your time. Thousands of people are going up there. This man is crazy. You know what I mean? He's not teaching you anything. You're not going to get anything from him. And he said, okay, I understand, you see? But show me the way. In any case, maybe I'll just be one more that helps, you see? And he made that trek, and he went in the cave. Buddha Dhamma was sitting there with his back to him. He said, and he, you know, put on him and all of that, beloved, you know, I'm here. Buddha Dhamma didn't move. Guy cut his shoulder off. Next is my head.
Around
Buddha
in front
Dhamma
of
had to turn around.
All right.
That's the difference. We don't want to sacrifice that. Kabir Sahib said you got to cut off your own head with your own sword. It's like that. But we're seeking an easy way. You see? That's what the ego always does. It looks for minimum effort and maximum return. This is how the ego rolls. Follow? They want to maintain comfort. You want to stay in your comfort zone, you see. And then the other problem, beloved, that you had mentioned before, that gave you all that struggle, see, that's the adolescent stage of mind. You see, the adolescent, they think they're always right. You see? It's like that pain in the ass teenager. You can't tell them shit. They figure they know everything. We're like that, right? Adolescent. Or childish, you clean it. You want the guru to do all the work. You see? You see? If you could, you'll put it all on the guru. You won't have to do nothing, like a child. See? So the guru have to protect us for this childish impulse in ourselves to get somebody else to save me. Ain't no saving you going on here. You have to put in the work. You see? In fact, giving you the work is the grace of the guru. Giving you the instruction is the guru grace. You see? It's not like your mommy and daddy. You see? Nor is the guru omniscient. Another error. Guru is not omniscient. You see? Nobody's omniscient that is in the body. This thing is self-limits any kind of omniscience. You see? You're a better filmmaker probably than Adida. I know that might sound sacrilegious to you, right? But he knows how to make a life. You only know how to make a movie, but you'll make a better movie, right? Guru has specific knowledge, see, not omniscient. You see, can't tell you what to cook for dinner and who is married. It's not like that. I think I better stop while I'm here. Anything? Yes, beloved.
In the film, I noticed the many I said, in the film, I noticed the many different ways or resources. And it was like he went through all types of resources and things to accomplish this giving of liberation or making it available to everybody. It's like it was endless, the things that he was willing to sacrifice. And it just kind of paralleled to all of the stories and our own Sangha, the degree and extent that the gurus go through to wash the ignorance away, or to show us how to wash the ignorance away. And it was just so eye-opening to be able to see it, what you maybe don't see every day in your experience, but to see it in film like that, to see that
It
demonstration.
can help you to recognize it in real time, you see? In fact, it is the recognition of that sacrifice, you see, that very often gets you straight, sobers you up, makes you serious, you see? Changes the whole gestalt in the relationship. It's the recognition, you see? And you're certainly right. I think probably the devotees of Adida, certainly those that were here in his actual lifetime in this body, can speak volumes to that, you see? The literature that is here in the bookstores and in the whole tradition, those source texts that you all talk about, has a complete blow-by-blow of the sacrifices that Adida Sambaraj made for their sake. Are you with me? And he did it in a traditional way. You see, beloved, usually what happens, first the Guru give you the highest process. Then they'll realize that ain't gonna work. Right. So then it starts stepping it down, stepping it down, stepping it down, stepping it down, till they get to the rock bottom, you see? This is especially the case in Kashmir Shaivism, and I think a lot of Adida interaction with you all comes out of that tradition, you see? And Swami Lakshmuji, who was the last living recognized enlightened master of the Shaiva tradition, you see, had that same kind of style. You start with the highest teaching, right? Where no meditation, no kriya, no technology is required, you see? Anurupaya. You know, if they don't get it then you got to take the help of the mind, etc. You all are familiar with that. Step it down. Then you got to get a mantra, then you got to get an asana, then you're into the whole yoga thing, you see? And you got to start there, you see? Yamas, niyamas, you see, asana, etc., you see? That's where we come in the picture, right? Because that's where we're at. But just saying, giving them the great Mahavakya, you see? Tattvamasi, if you're at that Dinkaran level, that's enough. You're transforming that moment. But they say, Tattvamasi, we don't know, what does that shit mean? You understand? You are that what? You see? Right. You see? But you are the divine already. You see, your divinity is already the case. You don't become Brahman, you are already Brahman. You see? Then, right, get it. Us, we don't get that. And there's so many other things. So certainly Adida, lifetime in living was a classic demonstration of the kind of sacrifice and compassion and love that characterized these gurus. You see? Certainly those of us who are familiar with Buddha and the Buddhist tradition, the sacrifice of the Buddha, you see? Many consider that there's never been a guru, teacher, avatar, more compassionate than the Buddha. You see? But certainly compassion is a universal characteristic, you see? Even in our own tradition, Maharaji sacrifices, see? that were made, you see. In fact, you know, he was on his deathbed. And he just laid down one day. He was in perfectly good health. The doctor said, John saying, what are you doing? Did you have to go to the dairy and you got to give Satsang? And so he said, not today, just laid down and told him this is it. He said, this body is no longer fit for seva. Pulled the sheet up, Mahasamadhi. They dropped the body when it's no longer fit for seva. Which really means they used everything up, you see? Roger Vitt is a funeral director, knows about embalming. Well, if you had to embalm the Buddha, you would have felt nothing in it. There wasn't nothing in it, nothing left. They used it all up. Tathagata, gone, gone, gone. All the way gone, just empty. You see? Spent all of that seva, you see? And this is where the tradition of the Bodhisattva comes from, you see? Buddha was the Mahabodhisattva, you see? The source of bodhicitta, you see? It's a profound matter, you see? It's like when you was a little girl, you probably licked your tongue out at your mother, you see? You can't appreciate it till you go through some things, and then you can look back in hindsight. And you can recognize the sacrifice of a mother's love. That triggers something in you, don't you think? Sort of like that. I remember one Sahu lived up in the caves, and there's a Sahu community up there, right? See, neighbors. Right? And one day, one of the neighboring swamis, saw this swamis standing, on the mountain, looking in a certain direction, tears just flowing. It's just unusual, you see? A swami, come on, you see? Mm-hmm. And they asked him, Swamiji, what's wrong? What's the problem? You see? And he told the story that he was looking in the village where he met his guru. His guru had passed. And he was enlightened. This woman was enlightened now. Try to understand. This is the enlightened being, right? But of course, that enlightenment was due to his relationship with his guru. And they were saying, you're an enlightened man. You see, well, what is this? And he was saying that that's true, he said. He says, but even this enlightenment does not equal that body of my guru. That bodily form of the guru. That's irreplaceable. That's irreplaceable. So even when you attain, love of the bodily form of the guru never ends. It's what brought you here. And it's what takes you there. It is consistent in both sides of the experience. Makes sense, don't you think? Mm-hmm. If I love you, I can't hug a memory of you. I'd rather hug you than hug a memory of you. I want you because that's where I'm at. You see. That's why the gurus take form in the body in the first place, so you can feel them. You can't feel Naguna Brahman. It has no form. Saguna Brahman. We work with that. It's like that. But between the two, you see, as long as you're in this body, you see, it's nothing like the bodily form of the Guru. It's just, you see. Is there anything like the bodily form of your mother after your mother's gone? Husband gone, children gone? You're in the human dimension. You're in the body-mind. That's where you at. And that's where the Guru got to come meet you. You see? And once that is done, yes, you'll have those other things. But even though you can close your eyes and go in and be in that presence, in that company, for real. But still, there's nothing like that bodily comfort and company of the Guru Satsang. At least that's my humble opinion. You see. Well, I have to stop myself since you all have not shown me any mercy here. And so if we could pass some prasad out, we have some gifts for our brothers and sisters here. We'll have a little time for tea and crumpets if you all like. Back to the snow. All right. Where's Buddha Dasa? Buddha Dasa, come here. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Satsang Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Namo Guruvaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Amen. And so if our brothers and sisters here at the Adidam House of Love, please come forward. We have small gifts for you. There's still Christmas in the building, so I hope this is appropriate, huh? And so please, if you would come quietly, and then the other rascals, you can come later. Come on. Get it, what you wanted Santa to bring you? And
I'll
come
say
back.
on behalf of the Adidam community here in Chicago and that we really appreciate hosting you and are very happy that we were able to share this afternoon with you.
Yeah.
And thank you for your talk. It was very inspiring. And the movie touches us very, very deeply, as you might imagine, and we hope it touched you as well and gave you something was a gift, Adidas gift to you all.
Here's the rest of you guys.
What's that running down in my way?
I'm sorry, I got to run the camera. Got to unlock the camera.
That's it for me. Happy New Year. Same place, same time next year. Nobody die on me, okay? I don't handle death very well, I know, as you can see. All right, very good. All right. Where's Randall?
Yeah, I'm missing Randall.
Randall had to go, but
We'll leave.
yeah, we'll make sure he gets it. Here, I'll take it for him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of their way.
Let's go to your aunt, unless
Huh?
you want to sit for 15.
I have a little sip. I'm just totally disoriented now. She shouldn't even ask me stuff like that.